Hello everyone, welcome back to Luke's TV Talk. I'll go over some of the most recent TV episodes I've been watching. And for this episode, I'll be looking at The Rings of Power, episode 5. But just before I get into that, I uploaded a review for Andor episodes 1, 2 and 3. And also She-Hulk episode 6, so if you're interested, go give them a watch. And also make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future uploads. Okay, so let's get into the plot of episode 5 of Rings of Power. Nori and the Stranger are travelling a great distance, and the Stranger's speech is actually getting better. A group cloaked in white find the Stranger's crater and seem to be looking for him. The villagers at the watchtower split, with half going to follow Adar and the other half staying at the tower ready to fight. Isildur spends the episode trying to convince his dad and friends to let him join the trip to Middle-earth. Halbrand clearly wants to stay, but Galadriel has to try and convince him to go with them. So basically, the Queen thought he was going to go, but Halbrand wants to stay because he wants to become a blacksmith and wants to forget about everything in the Southlands and wants to be happy here. But Galadriel basically roped him into this and hasn't given much of a choice. While travelling through a dying forest, Nori is attacked by a warg-like creature, but saved by the Stranger. He basically does a shockwave and smacks into the ground, and they all go flying and run off. After the attack, the Stranger heals his arm with what looks like ice magic, but Nori gets slightly frozen and runs off scared. See, at this point, the Stranger was doing like an incantation, and then he looked around really menacingly, so I don't know what that was all about, and the spell sounded really, I don't know if dark was the right word, but it didn't sound promising. It didn't sound very good, so I'll be interested to see what twists this is going to take, because I don't know if the Stranger's fully good or fully bad at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see how his story unfolds. At dinner, Durin and Galgalad question each other. Galgalad knows of the Mithril already, and the elves will need as much as possible to fight Sauron and the corruption. The corruption in the Elven Kingdom is starting to get worse, like that tree that we saw at the start, which is their symbol. And we saw in the first episode there was a leaf that looked corrupted. The whole tree is full of the corruption now. And Galgalad explains to Elrond that this will end up killing the elves because the corruption will infect them, or something like that. 2 of the Numenor ships are destroyed, and Isildur saved the attacker but lied. So Isildur was trying to stow away because he couldn't convince anyone, and then the politician's son tried to destroy the boats, and he ended up doing that. And I guess to have something over him, and Isildur lied saying he saved him, so it makes him look like a hero. So it kind of works out for both of them in the end. The humans arrive and swear loyalty to Adar, but to basically make them show their full support, Adar looks like he's going to make them kill each other until they've got only the proper servants, the proper loyal servants they need. Galadriel tells Halbrand about her suffering and how her people treated her, so tells him about how basically Galgalad and Elrond almost treated her like she was Sauron because she was basically keeping his memory alive. And with her there, they could never forget about all the suffering they went through. So they had to get rid of her to move on, and that's why she feels so left behind by her people. Arondir teaches Theo how to use a bow and arrow. He's actually pretty good. Theo hands over the blade, and it's revealed it can somehow control people. So at the watchtower, there's a mural, and it shows the blade killing people or controlling them somehow. So it's going to be interesting to see how they use it in the future, because Adar is definitely going to be coming for that blade, so they're going to have to either use it or destroy it or something. Bronwyn debates joining Adar while the Orc forces march on the tower. So basically they're stuck in the tower and they haven't got much choice, so they're going to have to come up with a plan quickly. Durin and Elrond speak of the Mithril and how elves need it to fight, and when Durin hears elves will owe him a debt, he somewhat agrees. But he's going to have to try and convince his father, because his father doesn't want them to dig anymore. But if the elves are going to basically be in debt to him, he might think about it a bit more. Halbrand debates, but eventually joins Galadriel on the ships, and their journey to Middle-earth begins. So the stories are starting to culminate, and we're getting Halbrand and Galadriel going back to Middle-earth, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe they're going to meet Arondir or something, and it's all going to converge the stories. Okay, so for this episode, Elrond and Durin continue to be a great little pairing. I love their back and forth, their banter. They're like long lost brothers almost. That's how they treat each other, and it's lovely to see, because it's one of the only pure-hearted and nice relationships we've seen, because they're just friends at the end of the day, and they're just trying to be nice to each other. Theo can still be saved. Like, the first few episodes, it looked like he was going to go full evil and join up with the people that went to Adar, but he didn't. He stayed behind. He stayed with his mother and Arondir, so it's going to be interesting to see how he stands up for the right way and not be taken in by the darkness. I'm excited for Halbrand and Galadriel to return to Middle-earth. Obviously, we know Galadriel's a skilled fighter, and it's interesting to see what Halbrand could do, because we've seen bits and pieces of his skill, so it's going to be cool to see what he can do in a full-on combat situation, because he looks like he's going to be a good fighter as well. The strange new group of cloaked people that were looking for the Stranger's crater, I have no idea who they are, so it's going to be interesting to see how they play into the overall story, and do they know the Stranger, or are they just looking for him for some unknown reason? It's going to be good to see what they do. The Stranger's starting to seem a bit more sinister. That ice spell was very questionable, and the way he looked after it, it was very, as I said, sinister, so it's going to be cool to see how his growth continues as a character. Is he going to be good, bad? He's going to be in that grey area in between. So the world's being corrupted, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, so they're going to have to do something, like use the Mithril to get rid of Sauron or something, because it's not looking good. Seeing all the parts of Middle-earth was so cool. I love to see the journey that Nori and the Stranger went through. They've had a long trip, and it's going to be cool to see even more parts of Middle-earth, because their journey is nowhere near over. I enjoyed this episode. It's just more of the same stuff that I'm enjoying. All the parts and stories are starting to converge even more, and I'm loving it. So I'm waiting to see even more story that I love. It's great. I love the Elrond stuff. I love the Galadriel Halbrand, the Theo Arondir. I love all of it. It's a great story so far, and I'm looking forward to see the culmination of it all towards the end of this series. But yeah, I'm enjoying the series overall, so I hope you keep giving it a try, because it's definitely worth it. The story's great, the characters are great, so don't give up yet. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future uploads. And until then, I will see you all later.